YouTube user Thunderf00t recently put out a video attacking climate deniers. I found this surprising and was at first pleased and interested to see how he finally, after so much time, attacked this particular type of knucklehead. I should have known better. I left this comment. Thunderf00t made a name for himself by cleverly taking apart creationist arguments on YouTube.
I get laughed at.
But cracks in the armor began to show with live encounters, such as with Ray Comfort and Eric Hovind. Thunderf00t clearly displayed an inability to understand logic and philosophy. I recall his encounter with YouTube user How the World Works. Himself an ideological twit, was an utter failure. Thunderf00t's channel slowly deteriorated, and with his adoption of making videos blasting feminism, or at least his selective view of it, his channel now represents the most boorish style of approaching other points of view, meeting with the lowest of common denominators. That is quite lucrative, to be sure, and of course punctuated with the occasional pop science video. Look at the pretty colors! And as an aside, if you want a good shot at some level of popularity on YouTube, just make anti-feminist videos. Hey, look at this girl with the pink hair, she say dumb things.
Social justice warriors.
Nothing represents better what is either his complete dishonesty or his utter stupidity than his video on climate change, which is the first video he's ever really done on the subject. Such a man of science. And finally, he approaches the subject and completely botches it by misrepresenting his opponent's position, making it all too easy to defeat.
His usual MO.
So someone sent me this on Twitter. Mount Etna burps and releases more carbon dioxide than the entire time mankind has existed. And then hashtag climate change is a scam. Oh, that sounds serious. It even has a caption. That one little burp by Mount Etna has already put more than 10,000 times the carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than mankind has in our entire time on Earth. But don't worry, a scam is in the works to tax you for your minuscule footprint. Oh, that does sound serious, and it's been doing the rounds. Here it is on Facebook with more than 11,000 likes. Now, this is where it kind of pushes buttons, because there's only one simple thing you would have had to have done to check if this was remotely viable. I mean, look, let's just say that the anthropogenic carbon produced since the industrial age has increased the atmospheric carbon dioxide from 300 to 400 parts per million. You don't need to worry about it too much. It'll be pretty simple this. So the increase is about 100 parts per million. Cool. So let's imagine what the atmosphere would look like if Mount Etna had just burped 10,000 times as much carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Well, 100 is the anthropogenically produced carbon, so 10 times that would be 1,000 parts per million. So 10,000 times that would be 1 million parts per million. The atmosphere would be 100% carbon dioxide. No, actually not quite, because the original atmosphere would still be there to dilute it. But that still means that it would be 50% carbon dioxide, which is the sort of thing you might notice, because merely at 10% you'd be unconscious in less than a minute or so and die shortly afterwards.
So what they are talking about is not, in fact, the constituency of the atmosphere. They are talking about emission magnitudes, volcanoes versus human activity. And this bogus argument has been going around for years in one form or another. They're referring to nature's contribution to the atmosphere. And the reason why it is wrong is because it is just factually untrue. Volcanoes typically emit around 300 million tons per year. That's according to the British Geological Survey. Global fossil fuels, CO2 emissions, for 2003 tipped the scales at 26.8 billion tons, according to the U.S. Department of Energy's Carbon Dioxide Information Analysis Center, CDIAC. The Earth has a carbon cycle, and human beings are disrupting it. Half of the CO2 that humans emit from the burning of fossil fuels is consumed by the ocean and forests. But what cannot be absorbed through the natural sinks is left to add to the makeup of the atmosphere, thereby increasing the greenhouse effect. We are taking carbon that took millions of years to deposit into the Earth, and we are releasing it to the atmosphere in a matter of a couple of centuries. And that is having an effect. The failure to recognize this by people posting that stupid meme on Facebook is what is ridiculous. It's not because they can't do basic math. I think Thunderfoot has some problems with argumentation and philosophy in many ways, but I do not think that he is stupid. The only other option is that he is dishonest. If you think this guy is this great genius in his presentations and he just comes up with all these wonderful arguments, I feel sorry for you. I really do. Now, I know that some of his audience are in their teens and many of them in their early 20s. Maybe that's understandable. But some of his audience is also in their 30s and 40s and even 50s. It's just ridiculous. He is duping you. And he's duping you because he makes money from it. He has become what he once despised.
Folk are intentionally misleading and deceitful, are jerks. And yes, this includes money-grubbing subscriber whores like How the World Works. Lee Doran has also announced that his primary goal on YouTube is to make money.
I just read that people are making $100,000 a year on YouTube. I want to see if this is true. I know I can offer a lot to the YouTube viewers. Can bring a lot of insight to a lot of the news articles that you're seeing in the news that you won't hear from anybody else. Click over here in the sidebar and subscribe.
You know, one of these days, when I just don't want to live on this planet anymore, I'm just going to invent some completely hocus-pocus idiot scheme to draw in money from gullible morons and use that money to buy airtime, or me just burning the rest of it.
I'm only burning my half. All you care about is money.
Or doing something equally amusing and pointless, like buying the world's biggest gold nugget and then firing it into the sun. Why? In the vain hope that people in the future just won't be so gullible.